January 25th, 2022, four of us went out looking for the Andrew Kruger blockhouse. That's the third of three German blockhouses along Dessau Road. It was Bob Ward, Officer Jeff Ford from the Travis County Sheriff to kind of escort and provide protection, Mike Ward, and then myself, Rich Denny. For context on how this all got started, back in November of 2020, we were documenting the Schwarzkopf blockhouse that had been inside of the Smith, the R.L. Smith home. And in the context, in the course of being out there, I ran into this gentleman who was a general contractor for D.R. Horton. He said the Kruger blockhouse was still existing, is what he said. It was on Dessau Road. He kind of gave general directions to where I don't know that he'd ever visited it, but he had heard and kind of gave general directions as to where it was. So we narrowed it down to doing the research, a likely area, and that is here. It's off of Dessau Road, Parmer Lane, off of Yager. To bolster that this was a likely location, the site atlas, the Fred Kruger house is out at Pioneer Farms. The site atlas says it was taken from this location, which is across Yager Lane. So to kind of visualize that a little better, so here I've rolled Google Earth imagery back to the year 2002. Yeah, 2002, right. So this is where it's showing, so it wasn't a parking lot back then. And you see there was still remnants of bits there. So that's where, to the extent that it's an accurate location by the site atlas, that's where they've got it. And so we were looking at this area. So here's the church. TCAD had, various buildings, some out there. TCAD was saying buildings in this area were from 1937, finger quotes here. This house they had at 1974. And we looked at the 1940 aerials as well. Again, running the clock forward, these images, this aerial is from 2011 on Google Earth. This is the property we're looking at. And as you can see, at this time, it didn't look like it had been turned into a homeless camp. And you can see there's actually a car, looks like, I don't know, I know Mike Ward had visited the folks that were out here at one point. There was a sawmill on the property, and I think he had visited them in this general time frame. Could be wrong, but anyway, there were people living there on the property, the Smiths. We don't know if they're connected with the R.L. Smith house where the other blockhouse is at. But as you can see, there were quite a few structures still standing then, so that's kind of what we wanted to get a look at, and in particular, these that are listed as being, in TCAD, they were listed as 1937, so one was a barn, so we knew it was older property. So again, running the clock forward to the most recent aerial photograph on Google was from, trying to get it to show down here. Yeah, well, it was from March of 2021. Here we go, March of 2021. So not quite a year passed. And so there was some hope that we were going to be able to, in particular, look at these things, and you can tell the area's gone down. There were reports of homeless camps. Officer Ford said, there were stolen cars that show up down there, etc. But so that's why we got the escort. Anyway, we wanted to just walk this area. So I took the GPS with me yesterday. I turn it on when we get there, and I just leave it on. That way, we can track where we've been later in terms of the old aerials. So the blue lines here are showing we started out here at the church. We met here. We came out this way, we did this, and we went up and made the U-turn. And then you guys went in another direction, I think, from up here. Anyway, we met up and parked in this area. So I will play in fast time. You can see here. So we basically came in, we looked around this area in here. And what we saw was that someone, so again, this is from March of 2021, so less than a year ago. Somebody in the recent past has gone in with a bulldozer and just cleaned this area out. So, so again, here was, I think this is Scottsdale. We parked, I think we parked right in here. So in 2021, you can see there were still things visible, and it looks like we pretty well, like here was the westernmost house. I think this is the house on TCAD that got listed as 1974, but again, you know, if there's a blockhouse inside, you're not gonna see it. This is where we went out. There was a homeless camp in this area. And we walked out there. There was some kind of disturbance going on down there. So let me roll the imagery back to 2009, 2010 again, to kind of show you where we covered in terms of what the area looked like before it was a big homeless camp and before the bulldozers came in. So again, came in on Scottsdale, we walked in this way. So we kind of skirted these. I seem to think this is where well, we found some remnants of some fence posts, stuff like that. We spent a lot of time over here in this area. This may have been where we found a septic system. And then again in 2010, somebody's still living at this place. So again, my guess was it was one of these buildings based on TCAD. And you can see in 2010 there was quite a bit of it left. So the last thing I wanted to do was bring in the 1940 aerial photograph. And I've got it georeferenced about as best as I can. It is a little confusing in that if you look at the roads, a lot of these roads, like 734, this part of, is this Yager? Isn't there? Yeah, this is East Yager, I think. If you'll notice, what's kind of interesting here, I'll point out, lining this up, this road here appears actually to be part of this old road. Okay, it just continued on. So it predates, this section was the old road, as you can see right here. Up here, this part of Yager, well, here's where I guess the Yager runs on this side, on the south side. So this is actually where the Fred Kruger house that's at Pioneer Farms is located at. So now you can see, you know, what it looked like in 1940. It was still a farm. The main roads don't really, here's the intersection here now. Okay, so this is the area we explored yesterday. So let me turn on this again. So you can see this is the church parking lot that we met at. And we exited down this way, headed back up the road, did a U-turn, and then here's Scottsdale. So there was some building here that's obviously not, we didn't see that yesterday. But you'll notice that the old entry to this area corresponds to what is the Scottsdale entry today, just the dirt road. I think if we turn on roads, you can see it's just a stub of a road right here. But that was how we came in, and then this is all dirt. When we left yesterday, so we parked up in here. I went up this way and turned around. This is low water crossing area. I noticed that there was, I didn't pull over to look at it, there is a well, it looks like a well that has been covered up in this area, right in here. Anyway, so as you can see, we covered most of the 1940 stuff. We did not, so there was a whole complex over here that today is this area. And we didn't, I mean, there's obviously nothing there, but we didn't walk over that way. And I presume this is church, probably, I would have to look at TCAD, but I presume this is church property. So one way or another, if the blockhouse were over here, it's not there now. If the blockhouse were over in this area, it's not there now. Oops. Having some technical difficulty, user errors here. So what I was saying was we did not walk over here. But as you can tell, here's the 1910 photo. There was, it's whatever was there is gone. Probably got, this is probably church property, I'm gathering, and I'm guessing, and so whatever, if it was there, it's gone. If the foreman, D.R. Horton foreman, was correct, there were, you know, I'm guessing the blockhouse might have been one of these. And this is what it looked like up until less than a year ago. And we had some of this stuff was there. But as we saw yesterday, it is all gone now. So if one of these was the blockhouse, it's not there anymore. That's it.